Good evening. This is the Walpole Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight is Wednesday, October 16th. With us tonight, we have Drew Delaney, Rick Merrickin, Jane Coffey, Suzanne Murphy. I'm John Lee, Bob Fitzgerald, and Amy Messier, the administrator. We've got a number of hearings tonight, so two of them are going to be continued. So, first one, case number 16-19 for 4 Cranberry Lane, special permit for an in-law suite. That one has been continued until November 6th at the request of the applicant. We also have another, do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, single.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue case number 16-19 to November 6th?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion on continuing till November 6th? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Next, we have another continuance. This is case number 18-9, Providence Highway Realty Ventures for 623 Providence Highway. This is bid cars, and the applicant has requested a continuance for that. Could I have a motion to continue case number 8-19 until when?
November 6th.
Also November 6th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, that cleans up those two. So the next case we have is case number 23-19 for 9 Country Club Drive. The applicant is here. Suzanne is going to step down as she is related to somebody within 300 feet. So the legal notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals, Town of Walpole, will hold a public hearing in the main meeting room, Town of Walpole, on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. on an application from Colin Ryle, case number 23-19, with respect to property located at 9 Country Club Drive, Walpole, in the zoning district RB. The application is for a special permit under section 5B2 of the zoning bylaws to allow construction of an in-law on an existing structure, construction of addition to house above in-law and kitchen bump out at 9 Country Club Drive, Walpole. So, if the applicant, we have a couple pieces of correspondence, and if the applicant wants to come forward, thank you. It says, Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission has no comments on this time due to the proposed siting is not in the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. We have a letter from the Police Department. The attached plans have been reviewed, and any impact on public safety and quality of life. Walpole Police Department does not have any public safety concerns in relation to traffic, in this case filed with the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have a letter from the Board of Health. The Board of Health at its October 1st, 2019 meeting voted unanimously that they have no objections to the proposed attached in-law. However, the board wants the applicant to be aware that the existing on-site septic system for this address is designed to accommodate a four-bedroom home, and therefore the existing home with the new proposed addition cannot exceed 4 bedrooms and also more than 9 rooms total per Title V unless an on-site septic system is upgraded. Letter from the Planning Board. We are in receipt of your request for comments, and there are no planning comments at this time. From the Fire Department. The Fire Department has reviewed the plans in application for a special permit regarding to the above-mentioned location and offers the following preliminary comments. If the request is approved, building plans will need to be submitted to the Fire Department for review of life safety devices. Okay, so just one question for you, based on the comments from the Board of Health. How many bedrooms is the house right now?
Currently, as it is, it's 4 bedrooms.
And after this in-law, how many bedrooms?
It will remain, because what we were going to do is one of the upstairs bedrooms is going to be converted into a laundry room as well as a walk-in closet. So essentially eliminating that as a bedroom while adding on above as for a master.
Okay. Okay, we have the plans in front of us. If you want to explain what you're proposing and talk us through.
So what I would like to do is, My mother, who is currently residing with us after she sold her property of Royal Crest, which was right behind us, which was lovely to have the grandchildren walk through, is on the first floor in what is the master bedroom, master bath. What we would like to do is bump that behind, there's a patio that resides just behind her, move that back so she could have a bedroom back there, as well as a small living space with a tiny kitchenette. And then above her, put in a master bedroom, and let her master bathroom on that first floor for her is going to bump into our kitchen. Just try to maximizing the amount of space that we can give her. So because she's going to come into the kitchen, we're then gonna attempt to bump back our kitchen, just to sort of give us the space that she sort of encroaches on. Not a nice way to put, because I love my mother, obviously, but you know, sort of takes up in what is our existing kitchen, so we just want to bump that back to sort of give us the space back. We're trying to keep it essentially on the same footprint, not trying to go left or right, really. The only thing that goes out to the right is a farmer's porch that we want to put on, just to sort of give her coverage for her entrance, just so she has a separate entrance on the outside, and there is, you know, the open door on the inside as well, from the main to the in-law suite.
So, one of the things, you need to address parking on this. Have you,
So we have the garage, as well as the driveway, and to the left of that garage, there is actually a paved spot that goes back, so we are able to fit the 3 cars that we have currently.
okay. So, there's, part of the driveway goes right into the garage, and then there's.
Yes, and
off
then to the
I see.
left of the garage, it's paved to the side of the house.
Do you know the square footage of the in-law suite?
Approximately, not off the top of my head, and I don't have the plans in front of me, unfortunately, I gave out all my copies.
Okay. Because there are
If you'd like
requirements.
to refer this, is this the plan set you're
Yes,
talking
it
about?
is.
Yeah, you want to refer to it.
I did meet with the building inspector, and he told me that it should be okay, that I was within the limits.
Sure, I like this.
Just shy of 600 square feet.
Thank you. So, one of the things with a in-law suite, if it is approved by the board, and it looks like a good plan, so I feel positive about that. Part of, when you get the decision, do you understand the requirements for a in-law suite? It has to be a relative that lives there, and can't have separate utilities, and it's all part of, it's part of the house. And did anybody take a look at the flow? How is it? Because I'm writing down some conditions here.
Well, there's a door between the new living kitchen and the existing family room.
Yes, sir.
That would be the interior
That would be the
connection.
interior access, yes, sir.
Yeah, we generally don't like a door there.
We could just take that off, that's,
Okay.
I don't mind. My kids go in there nonstop as it is now anyways, so they'll be pestering her anyways.
She's probably the cook, right?
Yeah, she is.
So which door are you talking, Rick?
See the existing family room?
Yes.
The one to the right side of the existing family room.
Where it says step up into
Yeah.
new family room?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so that would be a,
Thank you. Thank you. on the Board of Health, mentioned 4 bedrooms or 9 rooms total, I believe. And do you know what the total number of rooms will be after the addition? I'm just trying to count them up here, and I'm not sure.
You know, the way it flows on that,
Right.
where the living room almost flows into the kitchen.
Right.
It looks like 9 to me.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
9G, okay.
Looks like 9 to me.
Okay. Great. And it also looked to me like the description of the project includes the addition and everything, but none of the dimensional aspects of the project require any relief from the setbacks or building height, that sort of thing. The only thing you're seeking is really a special permit for the in-law suite.
Exactly, yeah, yeah, I just wanted to go about it the proper way
Right,
and
no.
just make sure everything.
Understood, yeah.
Okay, so, any comments, Drew?
No, I think it looks good.
Rick?
Yeah, no, I think it looks okay.
I drove by it, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's nice. So, Amy, it would be, what I would recommend is standard conditions, and then a condition that currently it's a 4-bedroom home, remains a 4-bedroom home, no more than 9 rooms. And then the other condition would be remove door between existing family room and existing living room to a 36-inch opening. You okay with that? You understand?
yeah,
You
yeah,
understand
yeah.
so it can't be closed off like an apartment. It's
Yep.
an in-law suite is supposed to be part of the home.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason we didn't have the bedroom right there, we put it behind, so I didn't want my kids just running roughshod through our property, or our section of the house into her bedroom.
Good with that?
Yep.
Amy, you good with those conditions?
I'm good.
So, could I have a motion to approve case number 23-19, 9 Country Club Drive, in-law suite, with the conditions just outlined, including standard conditions, based on the plan dated September 19th, 2019, thank you, Bob. And based on the set of plans dated August 26th, 2019.
So moved?
Okay, moved by Bob,
Second.
okay, second by Rick. Any further discussion on 9 Country Club Drive? I think it looks like a nice plan. Any other comments?
No.
Okay, good. And voting on this will be Drew and the 5 regular board members. All those in favor of approving special permit for an in-law suite for 9 Country Club Drive, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried, 5-0-0. Okay. Good,
Thank
good
you
luck
very
with your
much.
project.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back, Suzanne.
Back to work. Did y'all miss me?
Oh, that railing.
I believe the next case we have is also a in-law for 960 West Street, Cider Creek Homes. Is the applicant here? Come on up. I will read the legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals, Town of Walpole, will hold a public hearing in the main meeting room, Town of Walpole, on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 PM on an application from Cedar Creek Homes LLC, case number 20-19, with respect to property located at 960 West Street, zoning district residential A. Applicant Application is for a special permit under section 5B2 of the zoning bylaws to allow an in-law addition to an existing residential house. We have a few department comments. Conservation has no comments at this time because the work is outside the commission's jurisdiction. Planning board said, we are in receipt of your request for comments on the above referenced application. However, there are no planning comments at this time. The police department said they have reviewed the plans for any impact on public safety and quality of life, and they do not have any public safety concerns in relation to traffic, in this case filed with the Town of Walpole Board of Appeals. We have a letter from the Board of Health, and this is a little similar to the last one. So it says, the Board of Health on its October 1st, 2019 meeting voted unanimously that they would make the applicant aware that the current on-site septic system for the address is designed to accommodate a three-bedroom home. And therefore, the existing home with the new proposed addition cannot exceed 3 bedrooms and also no more than 7 total rooms per Title V, unless the on-site septic system is upgraded. We have a letter from Paul Barry, Deputy Chief. The fire department has reviewed the plans and application for special permit for the above residence. 1, we have concerns with the submitted plans. They do not denote a bedroom. Additionally, page A-6, life safety floor plan stamped and signed by a registered architect calls for a CO, carbon dioxide detector, the CO2, carbon dioxide detector to be placed in the work area. A CO, carbon monoxide, is the device required. Is the addition a business or living residence? And 3, if the request is approved, the building plans would need to be submitted to the fire department for review of life safety devices. Okay, so we have a few questions there, and as people pull out their plans and take a look at them, let me just ask you, how many bedrooms are going to be in the proposed?
1 bedroom.
Okay, and that means how many in the main house?
There's 3 bedrooms in the house.
Okay, so you're gonna,
We are upgrading the septic system.
okay,
An engineer is designing that currently.
okay, so, yeah, because,
We don't have that info.
right. So, what's your timeframe? You know, we want these in-laws to work for people.
Sure, sure.
So, but it's gonna be difficult for us to approve something where you don't have a septic system designed that you can show that it actually fits on the property and meets the requirements.
Sure.
So, I'm trying to think. We've opened the hearing.
Yep.
We can take all the information tonight, and you might have to continue it until you have the septic plan.
Sure. What is the, so we're gonna do another test bit or 2 for the extension for the existing septic. I'm not sure what that time frame is, if it's November time frame to be able to do that. It's usually typically in other towns it's November to April, so I'm not sure what it is in Norwood, in Walpole. So, the engineer again is handling all that, so once we
Yeah.
can physically go in there and
Should be fine.
do the test
Might
bits,
even be
we're just
October.
really adding on, the tank is sized correctly for a 4-bedroom, so we're really just extending the leach field to accommodate the new addition.
Okay.
It's gotta be a pretty new system,
It's 94, originally 94.
pretty new.
So you're just adding on to the leaching.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So,
I think.
okay, so that being said, why don't we go ahead, explain what you're proposing,
Sure.
and then, but
Sure,
I think we're looking at a continuance.
sure, okay.
Okay.
So basically, this is an addition that will, an in-law addition that'll.
If you would just introduce yourself for the.
Oh, sure, sure. My name is Kevin Porter with Cedar Creek Homes.
Are you the property owner?
I am not the property owner, it is to my right.
Okay. How do you do?
So basically, the addition's gonna go to the rear of the property off the existing garage. You see that on page A3 for the foundation layout, the existing 2-car garage. So we have another garage as part of this addition as well, and there'll be the living quarters right off that garage. So it's a one-car garage with the addition attached as well.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's different.
So it's better shown on A5 as well, so you'll be able to
Doesn't
see.
seem much
the,
like that.
It's almost it's a single-story,
No.
kind of ranch design, if you will.
That's really good for older people.
And is this, would this be visible from the street, or is it
No, it's
On-
behind the house.
behind the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so it extends back.
And so if you're on section, drawing number A5, you'll see the rear of the house, the addition on the new south elevation addition, that's where it'll sit. And it'll attach to the existing foundation of the house.
And there's a garage that separates the,
Yes. You'll see the garage, if you look at the new west addition on page A5, you'll see the garage with the addition and then the entrance door to the proposed in-law plan.
So the two-car garage part is what it looks like now,
That's existing,
Today.
correct? Yep,
and then you're adding on the back and putting in, I like the little garage in the back.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a good idea.
So the question that came from the fire chief is you have in the new addition, you have labeled work area and office. Shouldn't that be bedroom and
Yeah.
living?
We'll rearrange that to the terminology on the plan when we
Yeah,
submit for
yeah, you-
everything. And the smokes as well. It's a dual smoke, it's a smoke and
Yeah,
a CO2
but,
combo.
yeah.
but is this for,
It's personal, it's not a business.
okay, and so so where it says office, that would be,
Well, it's like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It was meant to be indicated as a hobby room, home office kind of thing. My wife has a number of interests, home, hobby kind of.
Does she do
interests.
dolls?
Yes, she does.
Mine says dolls on it.
Yeah.
It does, I
That's-
just
yeah.
showed it.
Yeah.
Someone wrote a note on it.
Dolls.
There we go.
Dolls.
So at one point, we were thinking, rather than, as a possible way of arranging things, we were thinking of having my in-laws move in, but simply double up our daughters in one bedroom and have my in-laws in the other, and then just alleviate some of the other space issues that we have, to actually make the addition just a straightforward addition rather than an in-law addition.
Mhm.
And then it became, with the additional, space and everything anyways, that we decided, since the, building inspector had said that we were gonna probably need to do an upgrade to the septic anyways, or whatever, because of the sheer number of rooms
Mhm.
that would be in the house overall. We just said, well, okay, I'm gonna go back to our original idea of just making my in-law, site for my own,
so, there's a lot of things that look good on it, but one of the concerns is how does this connect into the main house so that it is not just a two-family house or an attached, but it's a door that comes,
This way.
but what is this?
There's no interior door.
Yeah, there's no interior door right now.
And that's necessary for,
And we can change that to plan, that's a pretty easy fix. We'll just come off the garage side and into the house from there. We'll just create a door that goes into the main house from that garage area.
so, again,
Does a garage
The,
count?
the idea of the in-law suite is so that it's part of the house.
Sure.
And what this looks like is an apartment attached to the house and it's even separated by the garage. And that's not what the bylaw talks about and specifies.
Okay.
So, I think you need to look at how it connects into the house so that a true in-law, as you heard in the last one,
Sure, sure.
it's part of the house.
Now, can I utilize the back part of from the garage, put a door there and go into the garage, into the house through that way? Or does it have to be off the main house to the main.
So, I'm not gonna tell you how to design your project, but I
Oh,
am,
sure.
but I will say that the purpose is so that it cannot be closed off as a
It's a separate.
separate.
Yep, like a
separate
multi, if you will.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay,
So
that's
it
fine.
needs to be open to the house somehow.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If they flipped the garage, it would work perfect.
What's that?
If they put the garage here,
Yeah,
that would work perfect.
but I actually like the idea of the garage.
I do too.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, you try to line up the three
I like
doors, maybe,
Yes.
from
But-
an aesthetic standpoint, but
But if
again,
you,
there's
if you
a,
put it down the end, it might work.
yeah, we can work on, yeah, there's a couple of different ways we can do it. The architect's a pretty smart guy.
Okay. And,
We go,
and is, I just wanna take, parking on this, did you address? You need to have additional parking for this.
Well, we got the garage.
The extra garage.
Okay, garage with the driveway.
Yeah, and there's plenty of room, there's probably a 9-car driveway anyways, currently where it stands.
Where's the, is there a full plot plan or just?
No.
What's that? No. So that's the other thing.
I do have one,
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
so it's stamped by a registered engineer as well.
Oh, you do have, okay, no, we have
I
it,
got
we
one.
have it right here. I'm sorry, I didn't.
It's on the other packet,
Oh, yeah, right.
on the last page. Yeah, it's a pretty long drive. Huge piece of property.
So,
Wait,
yeah, I think you're looking at coming back with the septic design
Yep.
from the Board of Health. And between now and then, see if you can figure out how it connects to the house so that it's not
Yep.
separated as a separate apartment. It's a in-law suite. And you understand what we're talking
Oh,
about?
absolutely.
I guess we'll need the dimensions of the in-law,
It's,
just so we can,
it's right on the plan, you'll see that it's 23 by 42.
But,
uh,
square foot.
Square footage.
square
Oh,
footage,
yeah, square foot is under 1,000 square feet, that's including the garage?
including the garage.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, that's what we need. Is that on here?
It should be on there.
Don't say square foot.
Yeah, I don't see it, but it could be us, but you should put that on there.
It's right there on page A6, right at the bottom, no addition plan,
A6, you got it, good.
997.5 square feet. And that's including the garage.
Oh, yeah, there it is, good. Perfect.
And the size of the existing house, it's
Uh,
1,000 feet or 33% of the main dwelling, so,
Do you know the square footage of your house?
Not exactly, but I believe it's approximately, 28 or 2,900 square feet.
we can consider going over those limits with the special permit, but we just, if we could nail down those numbers for us, then we can,
For the main house?
for the main house and
Yeah.
Sure.
the addition.
Okay. Are you you want me to get that information from the town based on their assessment, what the square footage is?
Should be in here.
Yeah, but
I'd measure it,
Okay. I'll try to get the original
Yeah.
plan.
yeah.
If you don't have it, the building department should have it on file.
Would it be in this? Is it this?
hopefully, yeah.
It's there.
Would it be in there?
Numbers not horrible.
He's gonna have to show that.
Yeah, and I think you may be able to
Isn't it on this?
deduct.
It is.
Garage space
Yeah,
and that sort of
I
thing,
have to
so
use my
if you just look
No,
at the
they're woefully.
definition,
Woefully.
the bylaw of,
Hate when that happens.
Okay.
I mean, you can use the assessors, but I would check it.
Yeah, well, what's the assessors say, if you don't mind?
For square foot,
I don't even see it.
they have 2659.
Okay. I'll re-verify as well.
And the final thing, before the next meeting, if you would, change the office.
Oh, yeah,
to-
yeah, we'll go through all the
and-
wording.
And this
Yep.
issue with the smoke and CO detectors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a definition in the section 14 of the bylaw called gross floor area, and that's the area that we're talking about, so.
Does that include the main house in the addition?
Correct. So you would apply that, there's some exceptions to things that you don't have to count in that
Gotcha.
area calculation,
And
including,
what section was that again?
it's in section 14.
It's probably not the garage, right, Bob?
Oh, right,
Yeah,
the garage.
this is habitable space.
Yeah, and then there's some exceptions for enclosed porches and attics and things like that, so
Yeah, okay.
you can use that as a guide to make those calculations.
Sure.
Okay, Amy, what do we have available later in November?
November
Is it-
sixth is
we
our
have Thanksgiving.
then we go to December 4th.
I think he would be pretty quick, though.
Yeah,
It's
the
up
plan
to
will be
you.
pretty quick, yeah. and
Can you do it by November sixth, though, do you
Yeah,
think?
I think I can do it by November sixth.
So that'll be
With the septic,
5.
Yeah, that's, I'll
Wrapped
find that
up.
out tomorrow. And again, it's
August.
just, that's dependent on the town, if they'll allow me to do a test pit
Plus we have
This
the
time.
within the time.
I'm counting Lou.
Yeah, I mean, you may have trouble with that, it's the time, and then the guy has to prepare the plan.
Yeah, yeah,
That might be the weak part.
yeah. And we've got a pretty intelligent engineer as well.
Going for a good crew, are you?
We've got a pretty full agenda. The other choice would be the first meeting in December.
Do we know the date on
But-
that?
December
Yeah.
4th.
December 4th.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So that way you'll have everything set and take a look at the flow, how it connects into the house. That's an important
Sure,
issue.
sure.
I should have asked, is there anybody from the public here any of your neighbors here to?
Oh, okay. I'm not sure who the names are.
Okay.
He could be your neighbor.
I'm moving on.
Okay. So, could I have we need to do a motion?
Yep.
Could I have a motion to continue case number 20-19 to December 4th at the request of the applicant?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
moved by Jane, second by Suzanne. All those in favor, and this is just to continue it until December 4th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, December 4th, no further notice will be given, so if somebody has some comments, please come to the meeting.
Thank you,
Great,
appreciate it.
thank
Good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
And now we're doing Mackie.
What are we doing?
Applebee's.
Actually, Suzanne, the next one is the billboard.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, I just told him.
No, billboard.
Which one,
No, that's the billboard, that's the.
Oh, you are the billboard?
They are the billboard.
No, he told me he's the hotel.
Billboard.
Is Phil? I thought he said he was the hotel. Alright, this is when I have to run away again. Glasses, solitaire. Don't forget to pass those babies around.
Where would you like the plans?
right there, I guess.
Actually, where can you, near the podium, so that he can get it on the camera, so people can see at home? Okay, the next case we have is case number 2119, 2181 Providence Highway. This is a special permit. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals of the Town of Walpole will hold a public hearing in the main meeting room, Walpole Town Hall, on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 PM, on an application from Plaza Limited Partnerships, case number 2119, with respect to property located at 2181 Providence Highway, zoning district HBD. The application is for a special permit under section 93A and 93C of the zoning bylaws to allow the alteration extension or expansion of an existing non-conforming accessory sign, billboard, at 2181 Providence Highway. Okay, we have a few comments from the different departments. Conservation has no comments because it's not in their jurisdiction. Planning Board, they have no comments at this time. The Police Department says they have reviewed for any impact on public safety and quality of life. The Walpole Police Department does not have any public safety concerns in relation to traffic in the case filed with the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Board of Health unanimously voted that they have no specific concerns. The Fire Department says the Fire Department has reviewed the plans and application for a special permit regarding the above-mentioned location and offers the following preliminary comments. We request the digital display lighting be appropriately dimmed and/or controlled to not cause a road hazard to motorists. And that is it. Okay. So, do you want to explain what you're proposing, and please identify yourself and the property owner and the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Joanna Giorgio-Hilvert from Mackey & Mackey in Norwood, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Velasa Limited Partnership. With me here tonight, I also have Drew Hoffman, who also is a consultant for the applicant. Our engineer, Dan Merricken, was unable to make it. He's on a flight. He may get here in time, but most likely not. Before I get started, I just had a procedural question for the board. Our application was actually for two separate arguments in the alternative, which we had reviewed with the building inspector. He didn't have a preference as to which one was the right one, so to speak. You know, he thought the board could make that decision. And so we made the application in the alternative. So we are requesting either a finding that no special permit is required, or in the alternative, a special permit. So I didn't know if you wanted me to make both arguments or go through the first one, see how the board feels. If that one prevails, there's no need to go through the second one.
So let's walk us through. There's an existing billboard there.
Correct.
And do you want to go to a digital or electronic?
No. So there's an existing billboard that's been there since at least 1951. It's a so-called static billboard, and it's being replaced with a static billboard. The reason it's being replaced is the billboard is over 50 years old, actually close to 70 years old now. It's sort of rusted and dilapidated. It has 4 legs, which, you know, the newer, sleeker design is the monopole, but we are not going to a digital billboard. Okay. And so, I mean, I can just go through the argument, but as the board may know, the non-conforming use language, so essentially it's a non-conforming use because it's a freestanding sign for off-premises advertising, and that is not an allowed use. But we are replacing it with the same thing, a freestanding sign for off-premises advertising. And actually, why don't I hand out my memorandums.
Thank you.
If you want to flip to the back, on the last 3 pages, there are pictures of the existing billboard.
Who's the property owner on this?
Palazzo Limited Partnership is the property owner.
Okay.
So the property owner and the applicant are the same. It's located within the Highway Business District. This shows the site. It's an undeveloped site. This is the billboard right here. As I said, the current billboard is static. It's called an I-beam style, two-sided freestanding sign with 4 legs and a signed surface of approximately 672 square feet. And this is it 12 by 48? 14 by 48, which is the standard billboard size.
So what's the, can you give the current size?
Yep, that's the current size,
which is what?
672 square feet.
Yep.
And actually, if you look at page 2 of your memorandum, I have the dimensionals, both the required, the existing, and the proposed. And so essentially, we are only changing 2 dimensions, the setback and the height, but both of those will remain, they're conforming now, and they will remain conforming.
Okay, so the new billboard will be the same size? It's not larger?
It's not larger.
Okay.
It'll be the same size. They'll both be two-sided. They'll both be static.
Yep.
So the language of section 9(3)A in the bylaw, which deals with nonconforming uses, basically says a nonconforming use may be continued to the same degree and for the same purpose. But it can be altered, expanded, or extended only with a special permit from the Board of Appeals. So the question is, you're either using it for the same degree and the same purpose, or you're altering it, expanding it, or extending it, in which case you need a special permit. And the way the bylaw determines that is it says a non-conforming use may be considered to be altered, expanded, or extended if there is a net increase in floor area or an increase in the number of employees or a substantial increase in the number of automobile or truck traffic generated by the use, or an increase in the hours of operation, or a change from seasonal to full-time operation since the use first became non-conforming. So if you look at the first 2 elements, same degree, same purpose. This is, we're using it to the same degree, which is that they are both static, non-electronic, double-sided billboards. Same purpose. Both the existing and the proposed billboard will be used for off-premises advertising. We are not altering, expanding, or extending the use. The proposed billboard will not result in a net increase in floor area. Obviously, there's no employees, no increase in automobile or truck traffic, no difference in the hours of operation, and no change from seasonal to full-time. I think when you look at a billboard, you could compare surface area of the sign to floor area in a building. And so in this case, we are not increasing the surface area of the sign. And so for those reasons, we believe that we are not extending, altering, or expanding a non-conforming use. And therefore, we would respectfully request the board to make a finding that no special permit is required.
What about the increase in height? It looks to be about 15 feet taller than, even though I'm assuming that the sort of the rectangular piece is the same square footage, but it's now another 15 feet up in the air, so.
The height is increasing, however, it's still conforming. And so it's not, we're not asking for, this is not a non-conforming dimension, it's a non-conforming use. And so, although the height is increasing, it's still staying within the, in that district, it's a 45-foot height limit. Or signs, if you look at the sign bylaw section, it has to be at least 8 feet from the ground. And so, the size of the billboard isn't changing, it's just going up, but.
So in that sense, I mean, I guess it's then interpreting what extension means, like, are you extending it 15 feet further in the air, or because it's the same
But
square
it's
footage?
extending the use, not the, there is a whole different section that talks about non-conforming dimensions, but we're
Right.
not extending, this is not a non-conforming dimension, it's a non-conforming use, and so, question is that use being extended?
And I think your point, Bob, is that the use is being extended because it's going up to 45 feet.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the argument that if it's larger in square footage, that would be an extension, but if it's not, arguably that's not an extension, but I think
Well, if it's the same
think
square
it's-
footage.
it is the same
Yeah.
square footage, but as you're driving down the road, it's, I don't know, I mean, we can
It's also Route 1.
debate the finer points of what extension means, but it seems like you're extending the use further into you're not making it more intensive in terms of the area, but in terms of its location, it's being extended further into the,
I mean, I would
But-
note that the bylaw calls out specific dimensions that could result in a non-conforming use being extended, and that would be the floor area. And they don't call out height. So even in a building, you can actually increase the height without increasing the floor area. But the bylaw does not call out an increase in height as being something that would result in an extension of a non-conforming use.
Is the sign currently lit at night, lighted?
To midnight.
And if the zoning board were to approve this, we could have a condition on there to say that it's lit until midnight. That would continue.
Absolutely.
And is that a DOT, is the lighting a DOT requirement, or that's just, okay.
Is that a old zoning board of appeals decision that, why is it lit only till midnight?
The sign is originally from Donnelly Advertising, actually built the sign back in the early fifties. It subsequently became Ackley Communications and then Clear Channel. Clear Channel always turned off the signs at midnight, just to save money.
Okay.
There is no, we looked in the file, there was no pre-existing
Yeah,
zoning
There's-
decision.
There's not, that's a good question, because I sure didn't want to go digging back to 1950 to find out what the
Yeah, that's
previous
true.
decision from the zoning board was.
Yeah.
So, okay.
There's very few traffic after midnight on Route 1 anyway, so there's no point lighting a sign.
Thank you.
Will the lights be shining up at the sign, similar to the existing? They won't be shining down at the roadway or anything?
My guess is that the comment from the fire department may have been assuming that it was gonna be digital, so,
Yes, I think that was, and that was what I was getting to with my first questions on this.
Would you be okay with a condition that says it will not be digital, without further approval of the board?
right, if we wanted to, right now it can't be digital anyway, because the DOT has a setback of 1,000 feet between digital signs, so there's another digital sign within 1,000 feet. If the DOT ever changed that, the site owner may very well want to change it to digital, but they are aware they would have to come back to this board anyway, so that condition would be fine.
I think things are moving along fine for you. So, but one question is, in other locales, they've had a condition to allow the police and fire to have access on the billboard for antennas or emergency relays and that kind of thing. I don't know what the needs of the police and fire are right now, but that could change in the future, particularly with all kinds of development on Route 1. How would you feel about a condition that just said, and, you know, I'm asking you, but it's going really to the sign owner, a condition that would just say that the police and fire would have access for a antenna or repeater or camera, something like that?
That's no problem.
It's no
What's that?
problem.
And no, not at all.
Okay. And that's, that would be beneficial to the town. Okay, anything,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I don't have any problem with it as it's proposed. I guess I would prefer to issue this, a special permit,
I would-
rather than just say that it's allowed as of right, because I can't think of any future, I'm not sure that this provision was really written with billboards and their height in mind, talking about
Right.
floor area and things like that. So, and I don't think it's, you know, materially gonna affect anything other than establish a precedent that we can't really anticipate, so.
So, I think a special permit is not, it's not complicated, and it, if anything, it sort of cleans it up and says, as of 2019, this is what your special permit was for, and you move forward with that.
Would you like me to go through
Yeah.
the special permit
Yeah,
requirements?
would you, yep,
Sure.
and is that in, also in
It
this?
is. So if you flip to page 4, towards the end, special permit for pre-existing non-conforming use. So again, under section 9(3)A of the bylaw, a non-conforming use may be altered, expanded, or extended only with a special permit from the Board of Appeals in accordance with the provisions of section 2.2. provided further that the board finds such alteration, expansion, or extension will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. And then in section 9(3)B, the bylaw goes on to say, alteration, extension, or expansion of the non-conforming use shall only be allowed by special permit if the alteration, extension, or extension or expansion does not increase the total of all floor area plus open ground area of the premises devoted to the use by more than 50%. So the first thing is to go through the special permit criteria, which are in section 2.2. And these are the standard special permit criteria that would apply in any situation. The first criteria is basically, does the use comply with such criteria or standards as shall be set forth in the section of this bylaw which refers to the granting of the requested special permit? So that kind of loops us right back to section 9(3)A. And again, the alteration, expansion, or extension will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. The existing billboard, as you can see in the pictures at the back of your memorandum, is rusted and dilapidated. It consists of an outdated 4-beam design. The proposed billboard will have a sleeker, less intrusive monopole. It will obviously be new, so it won't be rusted. It will be taller than the existing billboard, which actually will result in it being less visible to the immediate abutters, but it will still remain below the tree line and thus will not increase the impact to further away abutters or neighbors. But otherwise, the size and style of the proposed billboard will be exactly the same as the existing billboard. So we would argue that it is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing billboard. The next criteria is that it shall not have vehicular and pedestrian traffic of a type and quantity so as to adversely affect the immediate neighborhood. It will not generate vehicular or pedestrian traffic other than routine maintenance visits. The next criteria, it shall not have a number of residents, employees, customers, or visitors so as to adversely affect the immediate neighborhood. Again, it won't have residents, employees, or customers, and visitors will be limited to periodic maintenance and billboard advertisement changes. The fourth criteria is that it shall comply with the dimensional requirements applicable to the zoning district in which the premises is located, including without limitation the applicable lot coverage and buffer zone requirements. And as you saw in the zoning table that I prepared on page 2, it does comply with all of the dimensional requirements in the district. It shall not be dangerous to the immediate neighborhood of the premises through fire, explosion, emission of wastes, or other causes. This is typically not a concern with billboards. The next, it shall not create noise, vibration, dust, heat, smoke, fumes, odor, glare, or other nuisance or serious hazard so as to adversely affect the immediate neighborhood. Again, billboards are not generally known to be associated with such harms, so we don't think this
Well,
condition is an issue.
I do think glare would be an issue, but we can talk about that one.
Yeah, so, and again, there is an existing billboard there, as well as a billboard across the street and a billboard down the road a little bit on Route 1. The DOT does regulate these billboards for that reason, to make sure that they meet all safety requirements on the mass highways.
Do you have to go to get a DOT permit for this new 45-foot high billboard?
Yes, we do. So the
Have you-
process is, you get your local permits first, and then you have to submit to the DOT that you've received your local permits. And there is a similar hearing process. The use shall not adversely affect the character of the immediate neighborhood. Again, we're replacing a billboard of the same size, which already exists at the site. The existing billboard's rusted and dilapidated. It's constructed of a more visually obtrusive design. Thus, we believe the proposed billboard will actually be an improvement to the neighborhood. And again, it will be taller, but by being taller, it will actually have less of an impact to the immediate neighbors, but still below the tree line. And then finally, there's several other, as I mentioned, billboards in this area, and so the immediate neighborhood is commercial and billboards. And then finally, it shall not be incompatible with the purpose of the zoning bylaw or the purpose of the zoning district in which the premises is located. The proposed billboard will be located in the Highway Business District. The purpose of the Highway Business District is to provide for retail, office, research, and development, assembly, and manufacturing uses related to said uses, consistent with uses along a major regional highway, and all related accessory uses. And we believe the billboard is compatible with that. So moving on to section 9.3B of the zoning bylaw, this is the section that says that a non-conforming use may be altered, extended, or expanded only if it does not increase the total floor area by more than 50%. Obviously, it's a billboard. We're not increasing. There is no floor area. I think you could, as I said before, I think you could look at the surface area of the sign as an analogous dimension. We're not increasing that. I think height is irrelevant here because it's not a dimension that was specifically called out by the bylaw. They could have called out that dimension and they didn't. But even if we were to look at height, we are only increasing the height by 50%, and so it would still meet that guideline. And so for those reasons, we would respectfully request that the board grant a special permit for a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Okay. I'll just say, I think the best way to proceed is a special permit for this.
I would agree.
You agree?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any comments.
Any comments from anybody in the public? Okay. So, so that being said, I just think that it comes to a question of Amy drafting. Can you work with the applicant's attorney to draft a decision?
Yeah, it's pretty much already written.
A lot of it's already written, I agree, and just work with her on that to get the wording, but I think.
In terms of the conditions, just to reiterate, you were looking for no lighting after midnight, the ability of police to use it for repeaters and the like if necessary.
Yeah, and we can get the exact wording. I can talk to the chief of police or the fire chief and find out what they want, but, or what they might want. But it's just something that is a good thing for the town to have access to that, where you're putting it there and there's a power source at 45 feet high.
Okay. And then no conversion to digital unless they come back to the board.
And is it typical to require in a situation like this, where they need a DOT approval to demonstrate that they've received that approval prior to issuance of a building permit? As a further condition. I mean, I know there's usually a general condition about compliance with laws and stuff.
Yeah, well, why don't we just add that as another condition?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just note in there that,
We need
And-
proof.
how do you want, I mean,
So yeah, the sequence, is it, do you get the building permit first and then the DOT permit, or the DOT permit first and then the building permit?
so do you already have the DOT permit?
So you have to get the local approval, and then you go to DOT, and then
Yeah.
you get your building permit.
Okay. So, but then on the flip side, coming back, it should be a condition that, all DOT permits are in place before you can proceed with construction. So, is that what you're
Yeah,
looking for?
yeah.
Anything else? Jane, you good?
No, I'm all set.
No?
Good.
Okay. So we'll go the route of a special permit on this one. Okay. Could I have a motion to approve case number 2119 for 2181 Providence Highway, special permit for a billboard that's already an existing billboard referencing the plans, the plot plan dated September 9th, 2019, and the billboard design with a revised date of July 15th, 2019. Those plans were submitted by the applicant. The conditions we've already outlined, which Amy has taken down, and the final one being that DOT, Department of Transportation permit has to be issued before construction can take place.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Jane.
Second?
Second by Bob. Okay, and voting on this, it is gonna be a four-member board. You understood that before, right? Okay. So, all those in favor of granting this special permit for an existing billboard, say aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. So Amy, if you would, work with the applicant on the final wording of the,
Oh,
for this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Suzanne and Rick, welcome back. Okay. Next case is the applicant here?
Yeah, I'm missing somebody. Where are the two? I'm missing one. Only, there's only one hand.
This is this one.
Oh, what is this? What is this?
This is the new for the week.
It's misspelled.
Okay.
So yes, it-
The next case we have is case number 2219, special permit variance for 990 Boston Providence Highway. The legal notice reads, notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals, Town of Walpole, will hold a public hearing in the main meeting room, of Town of Walpole Town Hall, on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 PM for an application of from Optima Hospitality Group, case number 22-19, with respect to property located at 990 Boston Providence Highway, Walpole, Mass, Sharon, Mass, zoning district, HBD Walpole, zoning district, light industrial Sharon. The application is for a special permit under section 9-3A and 9-3C of the zoning bylaws to allow alteration, expansion, or extension of a non-conforming parking within the setback as may be amended. The application is for a variance under section 6, dimensional requirements, table 6B1, table of dimensional requirements of the zoning bylaw to allow a maximum building height of no more than 65 feet in 5 stories, whereas 45 feet and 4 stories are allowed as may be amended. We have some comments from different boards. Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission issued an active order of conditions for this project and has no further comments at this time. From the Board of Health. The Board of Health at its October 1st meeting voted unanimously that they have no specific concerns at this time. From Paul Barry, Deputy Fire Chief, we have a letter that says, per the Massachusetts Comprehensive Fire Safety Code 527 CMR 1, we have requested updated and updated turn analysis utilizing the plan submitted to the board. A, 8-1-14, fire access road plan must include an analysis of the fire apparatus maneuvers throughout the access road created by swept path analysis and turn simulation software. B, the fire apparatus access plan shall bear the seal and signature of the responsible registered professional engineer. C, previously submitted plan appears to show conflict with 527 CMR 1, section 182348, travel in the opposing lane, states that the use of the opposite travel lane is prohibited in the design of all new fire apparatus access roads in the south portion of the proposed parking. 2, regarding the request for a variance to the maximum height requirement, if granted by the board, we advise that the applicant, the build-out of the new structure must comply with Massachusetts Comprehensive Fire Safety Code 527 CMR 1. Okay. So, if you would, introduce yourself and your proposal.
Of course. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Phil Mackey, 1256 Washington Street, Norwood, Massachusetts. This is Council 4 on behalf of the applicant. With me is Dave Luca from Optima Hospitality Group and Dave Johnson from Norwood Engineering. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you something to read. Then I'd break your heart. And I got one for everybody. I don't know if it's that pleasurable, but we'll take it. There's one for you.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
There you are. But as per you, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I don't propose to read this verbatim, as fun as that might be to some. In the interest of time, I want to hit the high points and let the engineer discuss mainly what's going on along Route 1. Dave will give a brief overview and then answer your questions. As has been brought up before, this is a split lot, right down the middle, half's in Sharon, half's in Walpole. This project has actually been going on for about 15 years. This is another one that my father and Dave started years ago. Actually, I think, Rick, at one point you were involved with Kelly's.
Well, there are 3 or 4 different hotel
Yes.
people, yeah.
So, but at any rate, there's a long and distinguished history behind this. But in the current project before you, I actually think is back to the intent of the original. When it first was owned by Vickery Corporation, bottom line was they wanted to put a hotel in, half in Walpole, half in Sharon. In the ensuing 15 years, thereabouts, I could be off too, a variety of not that was proposed for this, and they never went anywhere. So we're back to effectively asking for a hotel that's 55% Walpole and 45% in Sharon. To get to this point, Sharon and Walpole, through their boards of selectmen, had to enter into, well, they didn't have to, they chose to enter into an intermunicipal agreement that basically stipulates who's responsible for fire, who's responsible for water, so on and so forth. As part of that, the constraint on the applicant is 55% of this building will be in Walpole. The front door will be in Walpole. And those were actually requests through the Walpole Fire Department, well, at least the front door part was, because they wanted no guessing as to who the primary first responders were. So it's really a public safety thing. So that was entered into, and then the 2 towns actually chose not to include the developer as part of that agreement because it's an intermunicipal agreement, not an intermunicipal and developer agreement. But to, I'm giving you the procedure here, I'm trying to go as quick as I can.
Oh, you're fine.
To link the developer and actually obligate him to do these things, there's an agreement called the Development Mitigation Agreement with Sharon. There's an agreement called the Development Mitigation Agreement with Walpole. And that, again, was between the Board of Selectmen and the applicant. Stipulates certain things, again, the 55%. Actually, it says majority. 55% is kind of what verbally the Board of Selectmen expected, and we are holding to that as the letter of the law. In addition, because it has come up in different fora, the applicant and the Walpole Sewer and Water Commission had to enter an agreement, which was just finalized, I think, 2 weeks ago. As Sharon doesn't have sewer, and it didn't really make a lot of sense to put a well in for half of a building. So that, the Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners engaged Weston Sampson to do a peer review, amongst other things, and the applicant, Optimal Hospitality Group, has pretty much agreed to everything they want. So there's fees, different fees, fee rates. I'm happy to go into them ad nauseum if you want at a later point, but I'm gonna kind of leave it
Is
at
that
that
included
right
in,
now.
in this, the financial impact?
No, that actually is a completely separate agreement. We're happy to provide a copy to the board.
Just a question on that, Phil.
Yes.
MWRA involved in that?
They will be,
Will be.
yes. We're going to need a straddle permit from the MWRA.
Yeah.
But we haven't got to that point because we literally just got the local agreement that
Okay.
will now allow us to go forward for the straddle permit.
Okay.
So that is still hanging out there, but that's more of an administrative engineering thing. We can make the flows work, then we're okay. And we believe at this point, having looked at it, that we can. So I give you all that background because this is a very unique site. Once we actually get to the variance, that's gonna be the very first question and the first criteria. But before we get there, simply because it was the way it was advertised in the application, go into the alteration of the non-conforming part. Basically, I'm gonna step away from the microphone for a second here. The area right in here is what we're talking about. Currently, you have the Applebee's, that everyone's familiar with. There's a curb cut roughly here, curb cut almost right on the intersection, curb cut over on 27. And I'm not gonna steal all of Dave Johnson's thunder, because I tend to do that, and he can kind of do later. But in substance of this, we're closing off this curb cut here. We're realigning these spaces to be parallel, and we're adding 2 spaces basically where the old pavement used to be. So when you look at the site overall, we're not really increasing, we are increasing parking to make the whole thing conform. But as far as this area, when we talked to Mike Yanovich, as the zoning enforcement officer, he thought it was cleanest to come before you and ask for a special permit to in fact do that. So going through those criteria for the alteration of a non-conforming use.
So, just a question on, is this all one parcel? Is Applebee's part
Yes,
of?
it is.
So, okay.
Applebee's is a tenant of the property which is owned by Optimal Hospitality Group. And in fact, that was one of the reasons that we ended up having to kind of massage where the hotel goes. Back when the ground round was former Howard Johnson's, then the ground round, it was a slightly different position. It was very easy to make the parcel work, but now we have an active restaurant that you can't really tear down, especially if the lease isn't up. So we had to shift things basically to make it more linear and backwards and forwards. So as far as the special permit criteria go, in talking about, again, the parking area, I know this is absolutely wrong, I'm gonna use the right-hand point. I don't remember why I had this beaten in my head. We're talking about this area right here. So we would submit the closing off that curb cut and realigning the parking, basically is completely within the harmony of that area. And we don't believe that there are any special standards other than those for a normal special permit that are applicable. As far as vehicular and pedestrian traffic, realigning again, we're talking about just that area of the parking lot, realigning the parking isn't in and of itself going to generate parking trips. The hotel will, and we have submitted a complete traffic analysis, and they had estimated about 57 additional peak hour trips. And the bottom line is, at that intersection, they don't anticipate level of service to go up or down. It's gonna be de minimis or negligible impact. What the traffic analysis does say, however, closing off that curb cut and realigning the parking spaces is going to make both internal and external traffic movements safer. Because you won't have people right at the intersection trying to get out and make a turn or whichever direction they're trying to go. They're much further back. Still not ideal, but in this particular scenario, they're about as back as far as they can go without being in the wetlands.
Does Mass DOT have jurisdiction over those?
Mass DOT does have jurisdiction over this. They have preliminary looked at it because, as you know, they won't tell you it's okay until the town has. And this is what they want. They want that shut, they want it moved back, so we basically have incorporated as much of their comments as we can, kind of in a pre-engineering.
I think it's great closing that off. People cut right in there.
Yes,
Can I just add one thing?
absolutely.
Good evening, David Johnson from Road Engineering. The other traffic improvement we have here is the the existing entrance and exit off of High Plain Street is being modified to right turn out. So
Oh, good. That is
traffic
good.
from Applebee's and from the new hotel will be forced to come out and use this means of egress, and this will be physically prevented from turning left into that intersection, again, because of its proximity to the traffic light and the intersection. So that's another, I think, substantial traffic improvement proposed as part of this plan.
It will be hard for people to go,
Yes,
yeah,
Yep.
safer.
it is definitely safer.
You'd have to either bang it in Donkeys or maybe in Walmart or something.
Right. So hopefully this will help. Nothing's gonna make this intersection perfect, but hopefully it should.
That's for sure.
Not even good.
The next couple of criteria talk about basically being dangerous to the immediate neighborhood, causing nuisance or whatnot. And again, I would submit realigning the parking lot in and of itself is not going to produce noise, fumes, vibration, or other nuisance. And the hotel use, again, is in and of itself fairly benign. It's allowed by right. And we're here on the parking. Not that you can't ask questions about whatever you feel is relevant, but this is at least the presentation I'm prepared for at this point. And then the last one, as far as parking goes, is shall not be incompatible with the purpose of the zoning bylaw or the zoning district. So as we've touched on before, one of the purposes, the main purposes of bylaw is to promote public safety. Doing this and realigning the parking, again, won't help the traffic numbers at the intersection, but we do believe it will help the traffic flow and make it safer. So if you do see fit to grant this particular special permit, we think we're 100% within the intent of the bylaw. And we don't see any downside to it. So then, moving on to the building height before Dave gets up here. The first clause, as you well know, there has to be something unique about the lot. So this lot is actually one of the few that I can say truly have a lot of unique things. It's split by Walpole and Sharon. There's nobody else in the highway business district that has this configuration, none. It is subject to the variety and myriad of municipal agreements that are basically contracts with the town. That is not by any means telling this board, you have to do something. Please don't mistake me for saying we've got to agree with the Board of Selectmen, so this board has to vote one way or the other. Not at all the case. But as far as making a unique lot, here we have it. We have wetlands on one side, we have a town line roughly in the middle, and we're not allowed by our agreement with the Sewer and Water Commission and the Board of Selectmen to go backwards, to basically site the hotel. So in order to keep the ratio 45-55, there's really only one way we can go, and that's up. And we're not asking, we are asking for 65 feet, and Dave LaLuca can get into that a little bit more, but in reality, we're asking for a 5th floor. We don't believe it's gonna be 65 feet, but it all depends on whether or not, when this is ultimately built, we're using a modular construction or regular construction. The floor plates in modular construction are bigger, and it actually swings it by about 7 to 10 feet. At least that's what I'm told. Rick just jumped, so I'll have the experts talk about that one. But so unlike my preference where we'll be saying, okay, it's definitely gonna be 56.2 feet, can you give me 57? I'm asking for 65, and we certainly can condition it that once it's built, they don't have that extra 12 feet. I mean, whatever it is, it is. And we can work through that, I think. So we have absolutely unique circumstances, and I actually believe there would be a hardship because there's no way the applicant complied with its obligations to both Walpole and Sharon if it can't build out. So I think you actually do have very good argument should you see fit to grant this variance as far as unique circumstances and hardships. As far as the second clause, that relief may be granted without substantial detriment to public good, we would respectfully submit that there really is no detriment one way or another to allowing this building to be taller. I would like to note, and I failed to mention this earlier, by right in Sharon, they can go to 80 feet. We went to the zoning board, we went to the building inspector. Now, John's looking at me strange, but that is the interpretation we got from Joe Kent and the current board. So we don't want to go to 80 feet, don't get me wrong there, but the Sharon portion can already be 5 stories.
We're the majority here, we're the majority.
You absolutely are. Yes. All I'm saying is that we could end up with a building that looks kind of like that, which we're trying to avoid. And again, Suzanne, you couldn't have said it better. You are the majority. I need 55% to be in Walpole. And so, given that the potential alternative is to have a multi-level building with a higher piece in the back, I'm not by any means advocating that. I agree with you, Mary Jane, it would look horrible. So I don't think, I would actually think almost the converse. It would be in the public's interest to have a good-looking building that's flat, if you will, as opposed to jog.
So if you did build 85 feet,
Yes.
I saw in here that the town of Walpole is providing all the fire protection. Is the fire chief aware that there's the possibility of an 85-foot structure?
There is not a possibility, and it's 65 foot.
No, but you said.
I said if
Sharon's-
Sharon would go to 80.
Go to 80.
Right, but you said you already met with the Sharon zoning board of
We
appeals.
did, yes, and we aren't proposing an 80-foot structure anywhere.
Okay.
They basically looked at the plans and reviewed it and said, you're allowed to do this by right, we don't need to make a finding one way or another. I can't tell you what the two fire chiefs decided behind closed doors, as I was pointedly not invited to that meeting. But the height of this building was known to both fire departments and did not seem to be an issue.
Okay, well,
That's all I
I
can
also
say.
noticed we don't have a letter from the fire department saying that it is not an issue. This is this would be, I think, the tallest building in town at 65 feet.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty close.
yeah, so we're gonna need to, I mean, among other things that you'll be working on, that's something that we need to
That's fine.
clarify.
That is absolutely fine.
Phil, can you do us another thing? Can you send us an email of all the agreements?
Sure.
So that we have them all? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Can we ask for that?
Just send them to Amy and she'll
Yeah.
distribute it.
Please, thank you.
Absolutely. Maybe 2, I'm not sure how many. I'll get them to her on email.
And even if you have ones with Sharon that we might need to look at or something.
I will send you everything I have,
Thanks.
Suzanne. I am not hiding anything.
Thanks.
Phil,
Yeah.
how did the 55-45 come about? I mean, was that presented by the applicant as the option,
It's a
or?
big issue.
That was
Big issue.
early on discussion with the town administrator. He said, I want at least 55 in Walpole. I said,
Just
okay.
pull the number out of his, yeah. Okay.
I understand.
Yeah. One of the other guy just said.
Hi, Dave.
So I'm Dave Luca. I am the applicant here, and as Phil said, I was here years ago with his dad, and I remember going to the Howard Johnsons. We were going to the ground round.
Yeah.
And when we went to redo I've been through this so many times, I ended up just doing it myself. And it was primarily the water and sewer people and the selectmen who said, if we're going to provide water and sewer to Sharon, there has to be a benefit to the town. And even though 15 years ago was 50-50, that was not good enough for this set of boards. It had to be more than 50%. We couldn't bring it any closer to the ground round without knocking down the ground round. I mean, you have grease pits back here. We ended up getting it close enough that all we had to do was move their dumpster without upsetting their drainage, anything else. So that was 55%, which required us to go up to the 5 stories to get the 55% there. In addition to that, and that was for the real estate taxes primarily, because that is a function of where the property is. Part of the agreement also says the room tax is not limited the way real estate taxes are. So in addition to getting 55% of the room tax, which they're due, they're also getting half of Sharon's room tax for the privilege of being able to move the water and sewer across the town line. So Walpole has negotiated a very, very good agreement. It's making out really well. And for a piece of land that we were gonna do things like self-storage that didn't need water and sewer, we could have done well in septic. Sharon still does very well, and Walpole does really well. And in terms of the fire chiefs, there's the nuances for me in doing this. I've been doing this kind of stuff for clients, it's written for almost 50 years now. Walpole's hoses go on one way and Sharon's go on the other way. So all the hydrants have to be Siamese. So because Walpole's the first responder, but if they have Sharon come in to help, they can't screw onto the hydrants. So we have to provide that. There are other nuances between the fire department, police department. Town line goes through. You're in different court systems.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, as a matter of fun, for me, I'm gonna put a red line in the carpet here and put a welcome to Sharon, welcome to Walpole.
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
Why
That
not?
would be funny.
Good idea.
Why not? And in the hallway, we're gonna have the history of Sharon, you know, all the old
That's
photographs
nice.
you guys have. So we're gonna have fun with it, and as long as I have the podium for a few minutes, the blue one here.
I know better than trying to stop you, Dave.
We signed a contract with a solar company. They're going to put solar panels on the roof. They're going to build covered parking with solar panels on it, and basically they'll own and maintain them. So this will be all the blue here, either covered parking or solar panels on the roof, for which Norwood Engineering has designed proper drainage and shifting. All that's been taken care of. In addition, most of the hotels have 1 or 2 charging stations. We're gonna have 5 in the beginning and put piping in for 5 more, because in 3 to 4 years,
That's a
we'll
good
get a lot
idea,
more
yeah.
electric cars. And we wanna make it, this is not a big deal in terms of the building, but from a marketing standpoint, it makes us, more attractive environmentally. One town has the stretch code, the other one doesn't. The whole building's gonna be stretch code. Things like
Yeah.
that. Negotiating this has, threading this needle has been very
I can imagine.
interesting. I'll say, on the staff side, between the 2 boards of selectmen, all of your staff people, public works, fire, police, they've been terrific. They went into a room, we stayed out and said, whatever you guys want, just tell us who's gonna be the lead, and tell us what you want, and so far, that relationship has been very, very good. So, I'm looking forward to something happening here after 17 years. And just, the plane of the roof, this line here, goes all the way across. What you're looking at here high is just a parapet. It's hiding the elevators, it's hiding the air conditioning, but the building itself is only this high.
The dimension you're looking for, 65, is that to the parapet, or is that to the roof?
We're looking to, well, on the plan and on the site plan that was approved, and we don't have site plan approval yet in Walpole, but the site plan that was approved in Sharon is based on the set of plans you have here, and this is at 56 feet. Now, we could go, as Phil said, higher. The difference is 6 to 8 inches per floor if we go modular.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So it won't, will it hit 60 feet? Maybe. Will it 65 feet? I don't know. And part of it too is, all these dimensions are from a slab. We don't know what the grading's gonna be, so another 6 inches here or there. We're just looking for enough room not to have to come back. But the plan, this is 56 feet from the ground for the 5-story building. The rest of it is decoration, basically.
What's the height on the decoration part?
It gets to 72 feet back here. And but behind it, you've got elevator shafts, air conditioning, all that stuff,
And that
which
doesn't
is
count
hiding.
the height, that doesn't
Why
count to
did-
the height of the building.
Doesn't,
Does
Yeah.
not,
okay.
No, it doesn't count in terms of
the height of the building.
Yes, go ahead.
It's not cool at all.
Yeah.
72 feet high.
So, it's hard to go with a certain number because using new technologies, new construction, you know, it may be shorter, it may be taller, I don't know, but notes that we want to try to go modular, and it does add thicknesses. That actually adds to the length of the building as well, because each unit now is double wall.
Yeah, double wall,
yeah.
So that we don't need any, we have to make sure we keep 55% in the Walpole, other than that, we're okay. But on the height, we just want enough cushion to make sure we don't have to come back here again.
Wrap up my presentation. I'm not sure if Dave is going to speak again or not. The last clause that, from the zoning bylaw is for variances, it can't nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose. Assuming we can answer your questions about the fire ability at 65 feet, which is a public safety issue.
Make it 72 now, that's what we just heard.
Well, that's not the roof.
But that's the parapet, he just said 72 feet,
Yes,
so.
I don't need a variance for that part. Roof line is measured.
We're talking about the fire department being able to,
Understand, yep, got it. But that's all right. Nonetheless, there will not be anything habitable at that height, which may or may not enter into their.
is there anything flammable at that height? I guess that's really the question.
Elevator.
Elevated stuff blows up.
That's true.
Well, it
So,
may be a push area.
to your point, if we meet the public safety issues, whether it's at 65, 72, or 56, because quite frankly, they all need to be met, not just one, because we want to save Yelldale. I think everybody in this room wants in that particular thing the same exact thing. Last thing I want as council for this project is for this hotel to burn down, and we have to live with that, because, yes, we will meet whatever the fire department needs. But back to the intent purpose of the bylaw, as I was saying, provided we can show that we meet all the public safety concerns and whatever other questions you have, that seems to be the primary one at this point. This is in the Highway Business District. One of the allowed uses is in fact a hotel. And we would, it also is in the definition asking or directing that one of the purposes for the highway district, not just for hotels, provide all uses consistent with uses along a major regional highway. We've seen several hotels go in. There are a bunch of Croxborough, a bunch of Norwood. They are all currently at capacity or greater. So this is absolutely a use that is in harmony with what the Highway Business District was for. We think it is a good project and a good looking building. It would be a benefit to Walpole's Route 1 experience, for lack of a better word. Something, Suzanne. And therefore, we would submit that if you chose to grant this variance, it is actually within the intent and purpose, and does derogate from the zone bylaw. With that, I'll turn it over to Dave Johnson.
And all these dog and pony shows, I go last, and there's not much for me to talk about. I would concur with everything that David said and everything that Phil said. But what I'd like to do is just very quickly go through the site planning issues. As both David and Phil alluded to, we were somewhat constrained by the location of the existing applicant. So this site, the proposed building is actually being proposed to be connected to the Applebee's. So it will be one building. What is being done is, there's no restaurant, full-service restaurant in this hotel. So we're encouraging people to use the Applebee's. So this protrusion here is a covered enclosed walkway from the hotel to Applebee's. So that is now one building. As Phil talked about the realignment of the parking here, if you look at the existing conditions plan, you can see how this parking in the existing Applebee's juts back into the site and constrains movement through the site. By going to the parallel parking here, we're now able to design this parallel roadway, driveway, in order to get people out onto Route 1, remove from the intersection, which compensates for the fact that they won't be able to be going left out of the entrance on High Plain Street. In terms of infrastructure, so as Dave and Phil talked about, sewer and water are provided by the town of Walpole. Stormwater, the bulk of it is going to the town of Sharon. Although the roof drainage from the hotel is going to Sharon, the drainage from the parking lot is going to Sharon. The high point in this parking lot in this location is about here, so there's a small amount of stormwater runoff that's going to be in Walpole in this location underneath the landscape area. Other than this realignment of parking spaces, all of the other parking layout for the existing Applebee's remains the same. Circular, two-way circular direction around the building, and as Dave said, we have electric car stations. We also have more than adequate ADA stations. We've got some short-term parking spaces for check-in, and that's really going through the site and touching on the more important design considerations that we had and laying out the site. Again, also keeping 55-45 of the building in the respective towns. So if there's any questions on the site planning or the utilities that really are unrelated to the permits requested, but it's just as important for the board to understand what's happened with the site, I'd be more than happy to talk about those or answer any questions.
If I could add to what David said, because we went through this at conservation, while the town line divides the wetlands and it's going into Sharon, it's the same wetland. It's just the act of the town line. It's not that it's being dumped into one town and not going to the other. It's one single wetland that happens to have a town line through it.
That's it. The other thing I can add is that we have an order of conditions from the town of Walpole. We have an order of conditions from the town of Sharon. We have site plan approval from the town of Sharon. And what else do we have from Sharon?
Special permit.
Special permit from the Board of Appeals and site plan approval. And from Walpole, we have conservation order of conditions. And after this meeting, if approved, will be going to the planning board for their approval of the site plan. We've met with engineering in both towns. The town engineer in Sharon has taken the lead on the stormwater and the erosion control review because of a couple of things, because the bulk of that work is being done in Sharon, but at the time was when Maggie Walker was transitioning out of her position in Walpole. So it made sense to have Peter O'Kane, the town engineer, take on that review, and he's completed that. So with that, I'll be happy to answer.
One question, Dave. Does Applebee's keep the same number of spaces?
Yes, we dealt with the parking count as if it was one site.
Oh, okay. So all right, okay.
Yeah. The total number of parking spaces exceeds the total required for both uses. I
All
think
right.
I have 42 spaces.
The right-hand turn only exiting onto High Plain, is that just gonna be striped, or will there be an actual barrier forcing people to go?
I think our traffic engineer, which is McMahon Associates, who does, work for the town, they're looking at the design. I think we're looking at maybe some type of small island, because with striping,
People will just go left
just
anyway.
The
Yeah.
signage doesn't work half the times too,
So
yeah.
we're looking at some type of physical island there, subject to the approval of Mass DOT, once we get all of our local permits in place. We're also, in terms of safety, I believe the traffic study recommended a crosswalk from this site across the street to the gas station, so people can get to Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm.
That's good.
Important
supplies.
stuff.
Going across the
We
street.
did the permitting and design for the Fairfield Inn, and connected that to Clyde's, and I think I understood from you that Clyde's business has increased by
A
large percentage.
Oh,
So
sure.
We're anticipating that if they don't eat here, they may walk across and go to Clyde's. So
Just
it is
for-
somewhat pedestrian friendly in that it's allowing people to get across Route 1.
As a point of reference, what's the height of the Fairfield hotel?
45,
45.
it's 4 stories, 45.
And how about-
Completely different lot, it was narrow and deep. Narrow and deep. The other constraint, some of we had here is, we also have Route 95, which prevents a lot of, it's a unique feature of the site to have a corner lot and an interstate highway abutting.
On the side, you mean? On the Sharon side, or on the?
Yes.
It's in the back, yeah.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're now receive mode as far as questions go.
Got a few questions. Why not go with less height so you don't have to request a variance?
Dave?
If we don't get the variance, then we can't put 55% of the hotel into Walpole, and then the water and sewer agreement goes away. The hotel can't be built. The town of Walpole created this situation by negotiating more than half the hotel in the town of Walpole. There's no other way to physically do it without going higher.
Well, if you just go lower, it would still be 55%, but not with as many rooms.
Well, that creates an economic hardship.
Oh, okay, but it's not a zoning hardship, it's an economic hardship.
No, we could easily have put the hotel wherever we wanted, except for the fact that Walpole wanted more than half of it in Walpole. And since the heights in Walpole and Sharon were different, and we could easily comply in Sharon, but we can't in Walpole because of your bylaw, I'm contending that in order for the Walpole to benefit from whatever it wants to benefit from, we had to go up one more story.
Okay, but it's not a hardship that is determined by the geography of the lot or something like that.
It's determined by the demand of the town of Walpole, which was defined by the geography. If we made the rooms fewer rooms, then Walpole would get less real estate tax, it would get less tax from the room tax, so the town would be hurting itself by doing this.
Less fire and less cops.
Pardon?
Less fire and less cops.
You can talk to the fire department, but we've actually had studies done on the economic study on police calls, fire calls, hotels, and the cost of that has been calculated. And I've done this before, and I've seen your other hotel and others, one page. You pay a lot of money to an expert who spent a lot of time doing interviews with hotels up and down Route 1, talking to all the police chiefs, talking to the fire chiefs. And so what you're suggesting less is de minimis. Okay, the cost
But it
is
still
great.
goes back to the height of the building. If you just reduce the height, then Sharon would still have 45% and Walpole would have 55%, but not as many rooms.
That is correct.
That is a mathematical fact.
If I
Right,
may,
okay.
you're a teacher, you're spot on. And there's no, you're absolutely correct. But I would submit, part of the criteria is hardships, financial or otherwise. In this particular case, losing a floor is losing roughly 30%. It's not 25, because it's not that many rooms on the first floor. But it makes the economic viability of the project suspect. If we could get 116 rooms, otherwise, those words didn't come out of my mouth.
As
If
you
we
know,
could- if we
variance,
could-
variance is a very high standard.
I do know that.
I know you do, Phil. You're well versed in this. Okay, so one of the things, the other question I had is, for construction enforcement, who is in charge of zoning enforcement and construction standards on a split project like this?
In this particular case, it was determined that Walpole was gonna take the lead, and Sharon would basically be, I don't wanna say peer review, because that's not really accurate, but Sharon would review everything that Walpole approves, but Walpole is taking as far as building permits, inspections, so.
We're taking hits.
We're also getting all the
Huge
fees.
hits this town is taking.
That was what Walpole and Sharon decided.
So I'm more concerned with it being done correctly, and it's good that somebody is, but that needs to be clarified as far as who's gonna be doing the zoning enforcement on this, because zoning enforcement is something that definitely needs to be looked at on a project like this, that it doesn't fall into an area of, no man's land.
Is there like a clerk of the works and stuff?
It's clearly spelled out in the agreements.
We'll take a look at it. Basically, what I'll do is try and take your questions, and while I'm gonna give you the entire agreements, we'll come up with a synopsis next time and try and hit the highlights, and of course, you'll have a
Okay.
base document that you can verify.
And, yeah, my big concern is that we have a letter from the fire department, but it doesn't it talks about turning radius, but not specifically the height of the building, so.
We will go back with both departments and address the height specifically. And I'll report back to you one way or another, but if I get a negative report, there'll be a different plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bob?
the only other thought I had was, and I'm not well versed enough in this to know, but I do know that contract zoning is not permitted, and I'm not saying that that's what's happening here, but I think it would be difficult for the board to be sort of, as you stated in your presentation, sort of forced into granting a variance based on the contracts that have been entered into with the towns. So while I think it's important for us to understand those contracts and how the various benefits may flow one way or the other, I don't think that we can, at least it's my current thinking, that we can't really take that into account in terms of whether or not the variance should be granted, because then it at least gives the appearance that there's been a contract entered into, and then therefore you got your zoning relief. So I just raised that to maybe emphasize that the arguments with regard to the height of the building maybe hew closer to the standard in the bylaw, and less reliance on the contracts, I think would be appropriate. But just my thought.
Fair enough.
Suzanne? Okay. Jane? Rick, what do you say?
Not right now.
Drew?
Not at this time.
Okay, so, good first start here, so let's continue. When do you want to continue, Phil?
When are your next hearings that are actually available? I only ask because I don't know how jammed up you are, I don't.
Yeah, we're jammed up for November, but
December 4th.
December 4th. Okay, so could I have a a motion to continue to December 4th at the request of the applicant.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. All those in favor of continuing to December 4th? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay,
Thank you very much.
very good. Okay, next case is case number 2419, 1049 Main Street. This is, I believe, the Red Cherry property. Is the applicant?
Yes.
What is it?
Okay, I'll read the legal notice as they're clearing out things. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals, Town of Walpole, will hold a public hearing in the main meeting room, Town of Walpole, on Wednesday, October 16th at 7 PM on the application from New England Bar Pizza Company, doing business as Crisp, care of Robert J. Carnes III, case number 24-19, with respect to property located at 1049 Main Street, Walpole zoning district, CBD. The application is for a variance under section 6BD of the zoning bylaws to allow, in addition to the rear of an existing non-conforming building, which is 4 feet from the rear property line instead of the required 10 feet. We have only one comment from a department, and it's from the fire department. The fire department has reviewed the application and plans for the above-mentioned location. We have the following comment to offer the zoning board of appeals. We offer no objection to the request and point out that if the variance is granted by the board, construction plans will be required to be submitted to the fire department. Okay, so, we have the plans in front of us, and I think there's some history to this. So, if you would, introduce yourself and talk us through what you're asking for.
Sure, my name's Robert Carnes, and as I understand it, this was approved previously, I believe in 2015. Very similar addition to the back of the building. Not identical, but very similar. The landlord who I rent from did not act on the variance, so it has expired. So we got the plans re-stamped and submitted, and we're here to ask for, I guess, the previously approved variance. We're hoping we can achieve the same thing here tonight.
Okay.
And mainly what mainly what I need it for, I anticipate with the town's fervor so far for the project, we're gonna be pretty busy. We need more space. The building as currently constituted just isn't large enough to do what I need to do in the kitchen. We need more prep room, we need more storage. I need to add a walk-in cooler as well. There's no walk-in refrigeration there. So there's a lot that I need to add on to make this business successful.
Okay, so, as you said, the zoning board already approved this. It wasn't acted upon, the 2 years has lapsed.
Correct.
And that's why.
As I understand it.
That's why you're here. So, that being said, we have a plan in front of us with a red, I think most of us have it with the red line. And is that the red line that was already approved by the zoning board, or has that been added on?
I couldn't honestly tell you that. The plans that my general contractor or his mother being the architect, that we sent off for printing, I assume they're new plans. You might see the pre-existing plan along with the new plan, I'm not sure.
So,
And I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a pretty terrible cold here, so. There should be a diagonal line from the back corner of the building. And it approaches the fence line, sure.
Yeah, I think it's roughly the same.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And it was the noise from the compressor.
Yeah, I don't know what that, what that red line is for, there is a existing shed there that would be taken down as part of this project. The roof is gonna carry right over, where that shed is. I believe today my general contractor said there's somewhere between 30 and 36 feet of, rear wall that will be added.
Yeah, that's what it says, 36 by,
17.
so that must be 17 in height?
Yeah, I believe it's, I think he said it was just under 600 square feet.
Is this all the, so on the second page of the plan, all the crosshatch area, that's the addition?
This looks more familiar to me.
Yeah, it would be good.
So that's.
So obviously, there's no red line here. This is what I'm familiar with, this phase two.
Right, and this, the crosshatched area towards the back there, where you're showing the new, cold walk-in there.
Exactly, so that box
All
there
that
is a
box
10
is-
by 10 walk-in.
Right, but all of that diagonal, those diagonal lines, that represents the
new
footprint.
addition, that's correct.
So, is the stuff in gray on this plan, this is the existing condition? In other words,
Again, I'll be honest with you, I'm not as familiar with this one. I think I've seen it somewhere along the way, but page 2 is what I've seen, what we drew up.
yeah. 'Cause it
So I don't
says
know if it's there for
removed
reference.
shed, and it says shed already removed, so I'm not
So this is actually dated from 2014, and then it's been updated in red from
Okay,
2019.
Gotcha.
And I don't think it's been re-scaled.
So in other words, you're expanding this more, right?
Correct.
Back.
That's correct,
Now,
so.
have you
right-
already started this?
So we started the front, we're putting in a new door, we had the building permit, for the existing building space. We're here for you, waiting to put on this back addition, that's really the main piece of the project, that's what we really need.
So what's in the shed that's coming down?
Right now, in that shed, I opened it today for the first time, there's like some paper yogurt cups
So
and paper
storage,
products.
dry
The
storage?
I remember that.
Yeah, but we can't use it, you know, that's gonna be gone.
Did they have an air conditioner or something there?
An air
in back?
conditioner?
Because the neighbors, or a freezer or something?
There's there is an air conditioner in the back of the building, that we'll have to reposition, because it's actually in this,
Because the neighbors, there was something about a noise. I can't remember what
would
was
that be a delivery truck?
Air conditioning.
No, air conditioner. That, yeah, the compressor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
The neighbors behind.
The church?
Yeah.
The church?
Yeah, no, there's a house there too.
Well, there's
It
a,
belongs to the church,
Church,
but they
yeah.
rent it
the
out. It's
reverend.
tenants.
Reverend, yeah.
Yeah,
They were not happy.
I'm not aware, because I've never seen the building operating. I've never been in there with
People, yeah.
any noise whatsoever, so.
oh, I see, yeah.
Okay, so if you've got a 10 by 10 walk-in cooler, that's this blockhead. Where is the compressor or the?
Indoors, it's what they call a drop-in, so it's actually in the unit. It's actually in the 10 by
So it's
10.
not on the roof?
It's concealed, no, it's concealed.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
It's what they call a drop-in.
Air conditioning's also concealed?
Well, the air conditioning is currently there, it's exterior.
So if you relocate it, can you screen it?
Yeah, we can do whatever
With
you
a
want.
solid fence that'll maybe
Sure,
get the noise level down a bit?
absolutely, you just kind of enclose it with a little fence?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but a solid
so I think the
fence.
plan is, and I don't know who's familiar with the building or not, but as you come out the back door, we might have to relocate the back door, but as you come out the back door, it was my general contractor's idea to take the unit and put it up above the door as opposed to having it on the floor, because there's enough space there to make a small office for me. So we could relocate it, and then we could certainly enclose it in if it helped.
The door is changing position, which isn't shown on this plan.
No.
Right? Right here. New.
Doesn't show any doors on that plan. Normally on a plot plan, you wouldn't show.
No, you wouldn't show doors.
Will I ask the shed question? On this plan, do you have it?
I do?
The shed that you went in today
Yep.
to look at the yogurt cups, says it's been removed.
Yeah, I don't know who would've wrote that.
Well, it wasn't me.
No, it says remove.
No, it says
Shed already removed by previous
Oh,
owner.
okay.
I don't know who, I didn't write it.
Well, neither
So
did
the
I.
shed is
This-
still there?
This is what you presented,
Well,
so that's a lie on here?
I don't think it's a lie.
Well, you went into the shed, you said.
The shed is there.
Okay.
I didn't say the shed wasn't there.
Some dude with a red pen did, or
Some
or
guy
a
with a
girl.
red pen did. But
Yep.
no, it wasn't me. Again,
I feel like I'm talking.
this
So
one
that
was,
That was added by Moran and Associates Architects.
all in red.
On the
I think what it was supposed to say is that, the shed is being removed. I don't know why it says.
It says removed by previous owner.
Yeah, I don't know why it says that.
Yeah.
Unless there was another shed there. Maybe there was another shed there, maybe there was two sheds, I don't know.
Is Moran Associates your architect?
Yeah.
Okay. You might want to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
I surely can.
Yeah.
So the specific variance that you're requesting is to go into the rear yard, with just a 4-foot setback as opposed to the, what's it say required?
He's actually reducing the nonconformity a bit, because.
Oh.
Unless
Okay.
Moran says it's already gone.
Right,
Because the
yeah,
shed is-
right, if it's still there, yeah. No,
I guess that's.
but it's longer, yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, it exceeds it by quite a bit, though.
What is the wall gonna be? It's a block wall, wood frame?
No, frame construction, so, there is some, the current construction of the building is a cement cinder block.
Yeah, it's an old gas station.
Yeah, so as we come out the rear, we'll open up, and then it'll be framed, frame construction, the whole length of the wall.
Yep.
And basically, again, it's just to create a room undercover, that I'll be able to utilize for, prep and for storage, badly needed.
Height is how tall?
I'm not sure about that, sir. I asked that question today.
What did Moran tell you? Let's hear what they told him.
Honestly, Moran didn't know.
Okay.
There you go.
Because,
Perfect.
just so you know, it looks like it's 17 feet. It says 16 plus or minus by 17 plus or minus
Yeah.
Rick, don't you
addition.
wish you could've got paid for this?
Where am I seeing that, sir?
on, right above the red where the shed has already been removed.
Then no.
Oh, that's the old plan, so I don't,
Okay, yeah, so one of the things, this is really difficult for us. You don't know what you're presenting. You don't have an updated plan. This is a plan from 2014, which was stamped by somebody named Rod D. Carter. And somebody has then since taken a red marker, put lines on it, and said, this is what's being proposed. We need an updated plan, an updated plot plan that shows what's there now and what you're exactly proposing.
I thought that was initially given.
No, that was the problem. They came back after the variance had lapsed.
No, when I came here a couple of weeks ago,
Oh,
I thought that I had given everything that was being requested the way that we understood it.
Oh, they didn't have
what
a,
we're looking for is this plan to be a current plan.
And again, I think we had to do a current plan. That was part of the request. So we did do one. On the plot plan?
Yeah,
Yeah, we did do a new plot plan.
we don't have
where is
that.
it?
Oh, I don't know. I dropped everything off here at the office. I don't know.
No.
You didn't keep a copy?
Amy, did you see it?
Maybe.
Everything in the file is there in the file.
Yes. I mean, I was hoping this was gonna be straightforward, because
Me too.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but that's why
No,
they get,
Well, it's a big
It
deal
is
if
a
it
big
costs me
deal.
time. Yeah.
Right, and it's a big deal because we
Yes, it
can't
is.
vote on something
That's
no,
right.
no, I
if
understand
we
that.
don't,
But I mean, getting it done shouldn't
It's
be.
a variance, it's got a high bar.
but it's also, it's also coming in with a basically somebody's added to this plan,
And they just passed it off,
and, right.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's there now,
that's right.
and, since 2014, and this red line, we don't know the height of it, because I just asked you how high this was gonna be. We don't know, what's going to be within 4 feet of a property line, so, I think you need to come back with an updated plot plan, which is this, where it shows exactly what's there in 2019. Do you understand what you need?
Updated plot plan, but I think I know that was one of the things that we got done, one of the things we asked for.
It looks like that maybe they thought this was the updated one, but by these Moran and Associates looking at this and redlining theirs, maybe they
You
thought
think-
that was gonna be acceptable. But it's
Well, I don't know, there
really
was
not.
communication back and forth. The architect is the one who communicated with the office, not myself. This is,
Yeah.
I cook for a
Yeah.
living. I
Yeah,
don't-
no, you're right,
Yeah.
but.
No, no, I get it.
Essentially, they've changed stamp plan, which
Yeah, you
is,
can.
is wrong.
Yeah.
You can't do
Can't
that.
do that.
No,
Not
they were getting re-stamped, if that's the correct, is that the correct
They
terminology?
can't
So-
re-stamp somebody else's work.
Is this a new stamp, or is this a 2014 stamp?
The stamp on page 1 is definitely an old stamp, because I remember trying to call this Rod Carter.
Yeah,
and
right.
He wasn't around, because we
No.
figured it'd be easiest to have the same person.
So they've changed his plan without,
What is the stamp on the second page?
no, the second page is fine. That's the architectural drawing, so that's okay. It's the site plan that we're looking for.
Did you meet with the building inspector to discuss this?
He was going to write a letter saying that he, I don't wanna say approved, that he, was good with the recommendation of putting on the addition. He didn't write a letter? Send an email? Is it Mike?
Yeah.
I need a real plan.
Yeah.
This is the-
So, one other, so you need an updated plan that shows what's there now and what you're proposing, and not just somebody adding a red line onto a plan. I don't even know how they did this, well, I guess.
Cool.
They
Rick,
did
how
a
did they do it?
scan of it. They did a
They
scan
scanned
of it, and then they
Jackie.
put it into AutoCAD and drew a line.
But is that,
It's not legal.
No, that's what
No.
I was saying, it's not cool.
but not only
Somebody else is.
that, it's not accurate. First off, the legality is an issue somebody has to deal with, not us. But if somebody just put in a red line here, does that mean it's consistently 4 feet from the property line?
We don't know.
We don't.
We don't know. I mean, the
You need an
stamp,
updated plot
the
plan.
stamp says what's on there is correct. So if the stamp is no good, then we have no way of knowing, yeah.
The other thing is, and this, I think I know the answer, but the name of the business is, New England.
My LLC is New England Bar Pizza Company.
Okay. Do you sell alcohol at
No.
this? Okay. That made your life easier because it's located next to a church.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in selling alcohol.
I think what may also be helpful, just based on the discussion, is sort of, it doesn't have to be elaborate, but some sort of rendering of what the wall is gonna look
Yeah.
like as it's facing. So as you're looking from
From the church.
from the
Butter's
church.
property
Yeah.
to the,
From the backside?
Yeah, a
Just
rear
what
view.
Wall will look like, what the finish is?
And like when you're gonna fence in the AC, what that would look like too would be great to have
Just a
that.
picture, a rear, the architect can do that.
Yeah.
Rear view.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
All right,
Do you need a piece of paper to write all that down? I got one. You got a pen?
no, man.
So, Amy, what's available? December?
That'll be 5 on December. I mean, that'll be 3 on December 4th. We're gonna have 5 on November. That includes Wednesday.
What's that?
We're gonna have 5 on November, and that includes Wall Street for December.
Yeah, it is funny.
What's that?
How quick you think it'll be?
Well, I think he wants to go quick. And I think that if he comes in, you need to work with the building inspector between, I'm trying to get you on for November. And
I mean, that already is, I mean, we tried so hard to get here tonight, and I really, really appreciate whoever got me on here tonight. I couldn't thank them enough, but, you know, this hurts.
well, you're not prepared. I'll tell you right now, I'm right now trying to get you the soonest possible that I can. Because the other choice, because, how about this?
I think there was a misconception, and I think that maybe the general contractor, might have taken a previous approval as, you know, this would be, not to say slam dunk, but a slam dunk, because it had been previously approved. Otherwise, I probably would have had him here with me.
And you know what? It really should have been a slam dunk if you had come in with an updated plot plan.
And again, I thought that was already submitted.
Yeah.
Well, what was submitted is not. In fact, I'm not even gonna get into that aspect. You need to have a conversation with whoever did this for you, but that's up to you. But we need a plot plan that shows what's there now, what's being proposed, and that includes the setback from the rear line. That's what we're most interested in.
Setback from rear line.
And, did you suggest, who suggested the bit about
the
rendering
of the back wall.
what the back wall is going to look like that's facing the church property?
It's my girlfriend and Marco. What else do we have on November 6th? Don't we have a move?
We do. But
November 6th is
what I'm
the-
saying is if he comes in prepared,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm gonna take you you're gonna go first and probably, and just please be prepared with your information. Meet with the building inspector, and if he said he'll give you a letter, get the letter, wait in his office until you get the letter. I don't, but, you know, this, you have to have updated plans and you have to know exactly what you're asking for relief,
Okay.
okay? So, could I have a motion to continue until, this is November what?
6th.
November 6th, at the request of the applicant.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay.
Pick
Moved by
one.
Jane, second by Suzanne. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay.
Thanks for your effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
thanks. Okay. Good. We have some minutes to review. Did people have a chance to review those beforehand?
I wait for Bob because.
No, you know
he's
what,
the
I
one with the
don't wanna
columns.
sit here and review them this hour.
Let's go.
We'll take a moment,
Let's go.
look at them.
Yeah.
I'll do them in my,
And that's, did you send out the draft of the 40B to everybody?
They're included in the folder.
No, we got it here.
Okay.
We're not gonna do that.
Yep.
I'm taking
Okay.
mine home.
That being said, is there any other business for the board tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes.
just a case.
could I have a,
I'm gonna feel.
get hungry? Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Jane,
Second.
second by Suzanne. All
Dixon,
those in
aye.
favor of wrapping things up tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, good night, everybody.